I know you told me you voted for President Trump. What were you hoping that he would do?
I was hoping he would did something that made sense regarding the economy, made some kind of progress in bettering, the benefits of being a veteran.
Pray tell, what exactly were the plans that he had said he was going to put in place that had you so excited that he was going to take care of veterans? What was the indication he gave you from his first presidency?
Can't nobody tell me different. You can actually visibly see that man trying to remove the racism from his response to that woman. What did you think he was going to do? Ma'am, I thought he was going to hurt all the brown people, but the leopard ate my face, and I didn't think it was going to happen, but I really just thought it was going to be the Browns that he was going after.
Donald Trump is saying, I told my voters what I was going to do. They knew, and they still supported me. They knew. They should not be shocked. If they're telling you they're shocked, they're lying in your face, because I told them what I was going to do and they said yes. They said, bet, we want that. If they voted for Donald Trump, they voted for selfishness. They voted for no equality. They voted for racism. They voted for, they knew. They 100% knew.
MAGA Trump supporters are out here all over the internet looking for sympathy for the mistakes that they did to themselves. They were happy voting for Trump policies just because they thought it was only going to affect black and brown people. Just accept them. Now it's affecting their livelihoods, it's affecting their businesses, it's affecting their families, and they're all over the internet looking for sympathy, declaring how they regret voting for the orange man. Why do you forget that you are happy with his policies affecting black and brown people? So if you voted for the orange man, you voted for hatred, you voted for racism, you voted for selfishness. So you effed around, now you're finding out you deserve everything that's coming to you. So let's get into it, guys. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing. I'm your presenter, Joel Mugisha. Please join us and subscribe to this channel and be part of this growing community. Let's get into it. I'll be back with more commentary.
I know you told me you voted for President Trump. What were you hoping that he would do?
I was hoping he would did something that made sense regarding the economy, made some kind of progress in bettering, the benefits of being a veteran.
Pray tell, what exactly were the plans that he had said he was going to put in place that had you so excited that he was going to take care of veterans? What was the indication he gave you from his first presidency? Particularly when in 2017, he froze federal agencies, which affected the VA for 79 days. What was the reason? To reduce government agencies through attrition, to make the government leaner and more efficient. That's it. No plan. Literally, remove workers and do not replace. Exactly how does that get you your benefits when there's no one there to help you? Not to mention his privatization push, which basically made VA care lower quality, fragmented, and weaker overall. Trump actually downplayed the severity of combat troops' TBIs, traumatic brain injuries that they suffered from, calling them headaches. And finally, something that you guys seem to be totally blind towards accepting is him calling fallen soldiers suckers and losers, to include prisoners of war like Senator John McCain. May he rest. Why do you think this man gives a fuck about you as a veteran? He has given no indication, in fact, the opposite, that he cares about veterans or doing anything for them.
I mean, it just seemed like he actually cared about doing what was best for the country, but now it just feels like all about me, Donald Trump, not.
Where have you been?
The guy out there working in the trenches, trying to make ends meet, trying to pay a mortgage, trying to pay the bills. It goes against everything I expected when, I voted for him.
So you're not satisfied with what you see?
No. And it doesn't even have to do with anything about me getting fired. I mean, if I had gotten fired as part of the, government, cutting government spending, I would have been fine with that. I can accept that.
Liar, liar, pants on fire, my little Pinocchio.
But he's not delivering on anything he said he was going to do.
What policies? Tell us. What specific policies were you so excited about? Because I don't remember a damn one that he proposed that made any fucking sense. You're not off the hook.
So what's your real game plan? It doesn't make sense to me.
There are some things that he promised to do that he has put in place. I mean, there are executive orders that he's done, that he said that he was going to do. You don't feel like he's lived up to those promises?
I mean, where are the results? I mean, seriously, prices are still going up.
I'm going to say this once more because people don't seem to understand. Number one, the president is not the single biggest factor that affects global and national prices. There are other factors. That is just one. Secondly, your inability to understand why prices go up and down goes to show that you don't fucking get why Donald Trump is terrible when it comes to the economy. He's terrible when it comes to everything, but one disaster at a time.
We're now in the middle of a tariff war with a bunch of countries that used to be our steadfast allies. I mean, how do you make an enemy of Canada? They're right next to us, and they've been one of our premier allies and commerce partners for, seriously, centuries now?
And he did say that he was going to put tariffs in place. Did you just not think that they would be implemented in this particular way?
I didn't think they were going to be put in play in a juvenile way.
I think you could have just stopped at, I didn't think.
I mean, where was the attempt to actually talk to the heads of these other countries? Like, hey, I feel you have unfair tariffs against our products. I'd like to talk about it first. And if we can't work out some kind of resolution, then I feel to protect our people, we need to implement this kind of tariff. There was no attempt at even talking to the other countries.
When has he ever played nice with anyone ever? In his last presidency or outside of it, during his campaigns, when has he ever played nice? When has he ever been professional? Name one instance. I can't with these people. Y'all made your bed. Now you can lie in it.
Can't nobody tell me different. You can actually visibly see that man trying to remove the racism from his response to that woman. What did you think he was going to do? Ma'am, I thought he was going to hurt all the brown people, but the leopard ate my face, and I didn't think it was going to happen, but I really just thought it was going to be the browns that he was going after. You can visibly see him trying to filter out his racist response.
Economy.
But I just believed every bit of shit that flowed out of his mouth instead of opening my eyes and investigating and seeing what sort of a liar and a bullshit artist he really was. So I guess I got what I deserved. Next time, use this, not your ass, to think. And maybe you won't make such a big mistake.
So Donald Trump just admitted something that literally rips apart all the little think pieces of you MAGA supporters and you ex-MAGA supporters talking about, oh, you can't believe what Donald Trump is doing. This man literally stated, you should not be surprised by what I'm doing because I campaigned this. You knew that this is what I was going to do because I told you that this was what I was going to do. So why are you surprised? That's what came out of Donald Trump's mouth. Go and fact check this if you think that I'm lying. Go on MSN.com right now and type in, because the title of this article is Trump says voters unhappy about the economy and his trade war with China should deal with it because, in quotation, they signed up for it, actually. This is me reading from the article. So President Donald Trump's tariff policies has sparked fear and uncertainty in the market, clear. But Trump says voters should have expected him to impose these tariffs when they backed him in November. He says, well, they did sign up for it actually, and this is what I campaigned on, Trump said. So all of you guys, you MAGA supporters that were trying to get sympathy and pity because there's certain people now who know you for who you are and for what you voted for, trying to get us and basically gaslight us into believing that you didn't know what you were voting for. This man is literally saying you knew what you were voting for because I campaigned on it. I told everybody that this is what I was going to do, and you guys decided to support me. Now I'm here and I'm doing what I said I was going to do, and you're upset? Not even upset. Y'all are copping pleas. Y'all are copping pleas because you don't want people to know that this is what you knew you were signing up for. You just didn't think that it was going to affect you. And that's where I would want you to be honest. Be honest like the man that you guys supported, because he's coming out here and telling everybody, I don't know why these voters are talking about their surprise when I had been campaigning this. Thank you. At least one of them, even if it's the leader, is honest. You have the cheese lady that was over here lying and copping a plea talking about, oh, I just did it so that I could have cheese for my daughter. I want to be able to afford groceries. Now you can't afford the cheese. Now you can't afford the cheese. I don't know if you could even get the block cheese. You probably aren't even qualified anymore to receive government cheese. You understand? You have people talking about, oh, it's going to make groceries cheaper. Oh, our schools are going to be more funded. How do you feel? Your schools are getting shut down, and now the very place that you decided to move to just so that you would be able to put your kid into that school, it was for no fucking reason. Farmers are not getting funding. All of you guys, he's literally saying, and I hope if you are black and you've had some type of back and forth on whether or not you should, kind of cut certain people off depending on how they voted. This man, Donald Trump, is saying, I told my voters what I was going to do. They knew, and they still supported me. They knew. They should not be shocked. If they're telling you they're shocked, they're lying in your face, because I told them what I was going to do and they said yes. They said, bet, we want that. That's exactly what happened. Okay? That's exactly what happened. So no longer fret with yourself and going back and forth on whether or not you should keep certain people around you, or should they have access to you. Okay? If they voted for Donald Trump, they voted for selfishness. They voted for no equality. They voted for racism. They voted for, they knew. They 100% knew. All of them little think pieces is bullshit. It's performative. They knew.
Seeing people regret voting for Trump is so annoying to me. I thought it was going to be kind of satisfying because it's like, I told you so. We all told you. But it's infuriating because we did tell you. We've been telling you. You had him for 4 years. You didn't realize that it was probably not a good decision. He told you exactly what he was going to do. Professionals said, hey, this isn't going to be good. This is going to negatively impact you. And y'all didn't listen. You still voted for him. We had so many celebrities, so many influencers out here saying, hey, vote for Trump, da-da-da-da. And now they're all backpedaling. And it's only because it's affecting you now? You didn't care that all these other minorities were being affected, but now that it's affecting you, now you care. Well, lucky for you, we're all just screwed now. So, it's great.
All right, guys, there you have it. Actually, as we have heard, these people actually voted for the mistakes that they are experiencing right now. Most of the MAGA Trump supporters, voted for racism, they voted for hatred, they voted for selfishness, because they did not think that these policies were going to affect them. In their minds, Make America Great Again was actually, get black and brown people out of America. This is what they wanted. They voted for mass deportations. They voted for Trump tariffs. They did not understand what it meant. They did not understand that, communities are interconnected. when one community is actually affected, you get affected too. This is just like every member of the body works. You cannot say that the leg is less important or more important than the arms or the eyes. They all work together. When one part of the body actually gets affected, the whole body gets affected. If you get wounded on your arm, the whole body is gonna be feeling the pain. This is, basically the essence of a community, the essence of a nation. If one part or one race or one community of a nation is getting harassed, is getting affected, especially, when they actually contribute a lot to the economy of the country, it's gonna trickle down to you. It's gonna trickle down to everybody. Everybody is gonna feel it. So a lot of these MAGA Trump supporters, especially MAGA farmers, have been actually feeling the heat because of mass deportation. A lot of them have been depending on cheap labor that they get from illegal immigrants, and yet they voted for the Trump policies to get illegal immigrants out of the country. They voted for deportation. They voted for hatred, forgetting that their businesses actually run on cheap labor that is given from, illegal immigrants who work in their farms, who works in their factories, and now they're out here saying that they did not expect Trump to do what he's doing. Yet Trump has actually reminded them in the article that whatever I'm doing is what I campaigned on. So if we are being honest here, the man is actually doing what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to carry on mass deportations from day one. He has done that. He said that he was going to carry on tariffs on China and every other country in the world that actually was ripping America off again. I don't get how they were ripping America off, because it turns out they are actually benefiting American citizens. But he has done that. He has actually waged war, a trade war against the whole world. Now, he is actually keeping to his word. He is doing exactly what he campaigned on. But, the funny thing is that these MAGA Trump supporters did not actually research to understand what is a tariff. Did not actually do some research to understand, how am I going to do my business if mass deportations of the very workforce that I depend on happens, because of racism, because of hatred. They did not want a black woman in Kamala Harris, to gain or to have the office of the president of the United States. Some of them because of patriarchy. They just don't want to be, ruled by a woman. They don't want to have a woman as president. But at what cost? Why will you choose something that is against your interest? This is what people have been trying to warn you about from the day of the ballot box. Black people have been warning you over and over again to choose, what will actually benefit you as an American citizen, because they have seen it all, especially, Latino men and white men. A lot of people who had that hatred in their hearts, they chose to vote for somebody who has not experienced running a government. They chose, someone who had actually destroyed everything in his previous term. They chose someone who had actually been reckless in his previous term. So they did not even consider that. Can you believe this? Fool me once, but fool me twice, then you are the one with a problem there. Why would you actually go ahead and put somebody in office who has been there before and they did not perform as you expected? Because farmers were actually, getting affected in the first term of the orange man, but they still put him in office. This is what you get when you actually put selfishness before your best interest. Guys, what do you think about today's episode? If you are new, kindly consider subscribing, like this video, and let me know your opinions in the comment section below. It engages the video and helps with the algorithm and with pushing this video out there. Share it with your friends and family, and as always, see you on the next episode.